Alrighty guys, welcome back to Larry the Stormtrooper. I thought it'd be kind of fun today to go through my Battlefront 2 setup, go through the cards I use, some of the weapons, just stuff like that, just to kind of show how I do it. And of course, as we know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. I'm sure a lot of you have a different setup. This is just the way I do it. And I'm actually sure a lot of you actually play a lot more than I do. So you guys probably have a lot more stuff than I do at the current moment. But of course, we're all working on our classes and upgrading to different weapons and cards. But again, I just thought it'd be kind of fun just to show you the setup I use and why I use it. And for today, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through Assault, Heavy, Officer, and the Specialist class. I'm not going to go through everything. That would be a very long video, but I'll just go through the 4 basic classes for right now, starting with Assault. So let's go ahead and check out Assault right now. Alright, so to start off, we're going to go through the cards that I use. And now, just to start off too, I do switch them up quite a bit. I don't use the same cards all the time. I do use the Acid Launcher. I've actually kind of switched over to that. I normally didn't use it that much. And of course, we all have our own version of Vanguard right now. And then the other thing I have too is the Bounty Hunter. I have Bounty Hunter on most of them, not all of them though. Usually didn't do it, but after playing for a while, I was like, it's actually kind of nice to use. So I switched over to use the Bounty Hunter quite a bit. And the other stuff I used, I used to use the grenade. I do switch over to the grenade sometimes. And the flash pistol as well is actually not too bad. I've used that a few times. This is just the current setup. I would say I kind of use the setup right now as is, but I don't usually switch it up too often. But again, I'll usually use like the grenade or something like that. But jumping back out, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the weapons right now. And again, I know you guys play a lot more than I do, of course, because I'm making videos for you guys, so I don't get to play as much. But the weapons, I don't have too many unlocked for right now, but this is what I'm currently using. I did upgrade, or actually I should say I unlocked this one, but I didn't really like it. I don't really like the semi-auto that much. I really kind of just like on the full auto right now. And I've noticed I'm just a little bit more effective with this one. I actually am just better, so I use the DC-15A for right now. But jumping back out, I use the same emotes for all of my classes. It's not a huge deal to me. I know some people are really a lot more into them than I am, but I just have the lightsaber fight and the injured right now. I figured I would at least set something up, but it's not that big of a deal to me. I don't really use it. And again, I do know some people take it a lot more seriously than I do. Now, just taking a quick look, this is the pose I use for right now. Again, it's something that some people really look at and some people don't really care, but that's the pose I have right now. I kind of like this one. But now moving on down to Heavy, I've said this before in a video that Heavy is one of the main classes I use. And again, there we go. We have the Bounty Hunter card set up for the Heavy class right now. And again, a lot of you probably have a lot more cards and a little bit more ranked up than I am, because again, I'm always making videos for you guys. But then I got the Supercharged Sentry. I don't use the grenade one. I may switch over to that sometimes, but the other one I use, actually kind of just switched over to this, is the Combat Shield, which I've found very effective. And I don't really upgrade the cards that often, because most of the time it's all just about the recharge time, and to me that's not that big of a deal. Sometimes it can be, but to me just the recharge time being 5 seconds faster doesn't really change it too much for me, and to me it could just be a waste of my points as well. Now, other than the shield, this is actually something I do use quite a bit. I switched from the shield to this, the grenade launcher, or the barrage, I think is how you say it. I'm not 100% sure, but I switched from both of those because I do use both those a lot. So those are the 2 big cards that I use as far as the Heavy class. And then this is the gun that I'm using right now, and of course I think a lot of people use this one. I think they've all been really good. I've liked each one of them, but of course I like this one the most, and I'm hoping to upgrade to the TL50 here soon, which would be awesome. But I do find this one very effective and I like it. And I do have a small upgrade on it right now as far as the mods. But going back, of course, like I said, I'm not going to go through the emotes. All the emotes are the same for each class, but this is the pose I have for it. I think it's a pretty cool pose for the Heavy class at least. But then moving on to the Officer class, I do use the Officer a decent amount of the time. And again, for the cards, I switch them up all the time. This is probably the basic setup I use, but I do switch the cards. So again, I have the Bounty Hunter card right now, and for the improved blaster turret, I've been using that one lately, but I actually do like using the shield, so I'll switch over to the shield quite a bit of the time. And then I do mess around with the grenade as well. And brawler, I don't know why too many people would use the brawler, just because I don't really get a chance to actually punch people too often. I'm never usually that close. So, and that's another thing I look at, is that how often am I going to be using this card? If it's going to be something that happens just every once in a while, I really don't want to use it. I want my cards to be something that I'm going to be using throughout most of the game. That way it'll help me improve on pretty much in any situation that I'm using. And of course that all depends on everybody's gameplay. Some people just kind of just rush into the battlefield, some people kind of stay on the sides, and it just all depends on your gameplay. So right now, here's the weapon I'm using for it right now. Again, I haven't worked on this class too much, so I still have some other upgrades I need for the weapons right now. Of course, this one looks pretty sweet. I think a lot of people use this one because I do find myself being killed by this weapon quite a bit from other people who are in the officer class, but this is the one I have right now, and I think it works good enough for me right now. So again, the emotes are going to be the same, and then this is the victory pose I have for for the officer class right now. And the officer class can be very effective if you use it in the right way, especially helping out your teammates, which is what this class does quite a bit. So if it's used in the right way, it can be pretty effective during the gameplay. So if you have maybe a team or maybe a couple friends you're playing with, if someone's in the officer, that'll definitely help. Alrighty, now moving on to the specialist class, or maybe the sniper class as some people are referring to it. Now this is the least used class I use. I mentioned this before, but that doesn't mean I don't mess around with the cards. However, I don't really adjust it that often because since I don't use it that much, not too much of these cards make that much of an effect on my gameplay, so I usually don't change it too often. Now I do have the stealth there and the binoculars for right now, and of course we all have our own version of the infiltration. Now I used to use marksman and expert weapons handling, but I kind of switched over and I got the binoculars, and I even used the pistol because the pistol, of course, in the sniper class you're obviously in a sticky situation if you're in close quarters. Not that it's impossible, but it's obviously a lot harder, so using the pistol or some other kind of sidearm is a lot more effective and I guess reliable. And I don't use the personal shield, and personally I hardly ever seen anybody use the personal shield, but I thought about getting it, just give it a try, because you never know what it might do or how effective it might be. But the fact that nobody else uses it probably gives me a sign that's not that good. And as you could probably see, as I mentioned in my other classes, I use the bounty hunter card. This is the one class I don't use it, and again I'll probably switch it around. I switch it all the time, but the fact that I don't use one this often, I think pretty much the most time people use the sniper class is when they're on Hoth, which makes sense. And as far as any other cards I use, it's just the binoculars. I don't mess with the grenade or anything like that, but the binoculars can be effective depending on what map you're using. But now jumping back out, checking with the weapon, of course, this is the one I'm using because it's the only one I've upgraded to. Of course, I see a ton using the NT242, which is a very effective. I get killed by that one all the time on Hoth. Speaking of Hoth, I get sniped so many times on that map, but of course, hopefully one day I can upgrade to this if I get enough game time in. But yeah, this is the one I'm using for right now. I do find I like it, after, especially with the headshot, you can take them down pretty fast with this one. But now moving on to the last part of it, which is the victory pose. Now this is probably my favorite victory pose out of all the poses for all the classes, is this one right here. I don't know, it's very basic, but I just like it, just the way he's holding his rifle over his shoulder like that and just kind of standing heroically. But for right now, guys, that's all I'm going to show you. That's all I'm going to put in for this video, just the 4 basic classes. Now, if you like this, I might go ahead and show you what I do for the setups for my heroes and also like my ships and other stuff like that. This was just something I thought would be kind of fun, kind of show you how I do it. And then also leave in the comment section about the setup you have for maybe the assault class or the heavy class. And don't just say what it is, but say why you do it. And maybe because you use this card because you find it more effective when you do it in this way or maybe that way, and put the reason why, because that's something that would be really interesting. Maybe we can have like a little debate going on below in the comments section. Of course, just keep it friendly. So again, just put that in the comments section, and if you are new to this channel, go ahead and click that subscribe button. And if you like this video and maybe found it a little helpful, go ahead and click the like button as well. And of course, the gamer tag is in the description below, and I always do apologize. I do try to play with you guys, but I do see requests all the time on Xbox, and I'm sorry if I can't accept it at the moment. I am also just busy at the time. But again, thank you guys so much for coming by to watch the newest video, and I will see you next time. Peace out, bros.